So, all right. Well, welcome everyone. I wanted to first thank you all for being here. We're so excited. This is our inaugural session for our Success Edge, where we're going to be talking to our clients and impact leaders who are making a difference in their communities across the world with the services they offer. So we're going to delve into with Judy, and we're going to talk about her transformational path as a coach and her unwavering commitment to assisting others. So it's an opportunity really for you and for us, me and Judy, to have a conversation about what's happening in the industry and how things are working for Judy and how she helps. So welcome, Judy. Thank you so much for being here today.
I am honored to be the inaugural guest.
Yay.
This is great.
We are too. We just absolutely love you. You've been such a joy to work with. And like, that's one of the things we just absolutely love is like, if we as a team are like, okay, it's Judy. We love talking to Judy and we love working with all of your stuff and just what you do, because you're a real person and you're authentic in your messaging and just how you show up and how you really try to serve and help others. And it's just really remarkable. And you're one of those people that, you know, you want to be around. And so thank you for being a part of our journey and with us on the journey.
Oh my gosh, thank you very much. I mean, I wouldn't know any other way to be. That's just who I am. And if people like it, great. If they don't, then okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's who I am.
Yeah. Yep. And so, well, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your company and what you do?
Yes, I actually, as a 40-year clinician, physical therapist, 4-time business owner, I decided about 8 years ago that I really wanted to actually grow and develop some skill sets that I had while I was a business owner, but I didn't feel I was the best at. So I went back to coaching school, because one of the biggest drivers of developing people and developing businesses is to be aware of where you're at and what you need, what you're missing, and what just pulls you in the wrong direction. So I went back to coaching school and got my coaching certificates and additional training, and decided I did that partially knowing that I wanted to be able to help others kind of navigate through the waters of developing their business, growing their business, but honestly, getting away from a lot of the stress that bogged them down as leaders. And so I started there and then developed into working leaders and their teams, as well as really defining what their culture is and what they need to do to drive their business. So it's people in healthcare, dental, medical rehab, really small to medium-sized businesses are the sweet spot, because they need the help. They need to get out of the weeds and be able to work on the business and have it drag them down.
Yeah, and having someone focused and dedicated to that development for their team will really ultimately, what kind of results can they get when you have someone on the team like yourself?
Yeah, and part of the problem in healthcare too is we're so focused. We were trained to be independent thinkers, and we don't need help. So we have to make those decisions and be good at those decisions. But this is a different kind of support and help and growth in their own skill set and the ability to handle things that we aren't trained in school. They don't teach us these types of tools and skills and strategies. It's all tactical and the things that we do. So we need to be able to have that additional support and work so we can get out of the weeds, get out of the stress, and be able to stand back and say, what can I do to drive this business forward in a positive way and get rid of that stress?
So your business name, how did you come up with your business name, Grow Strong Teams?
I actually I rebranded in 2019. And because I was just focused predominantly on the physical therapy practices, because obviously that's where I grew up with my businesses. But every business between dental, rehab, OT, speech, any medical allied health business, people are people. So grow strong teams better define those that were seeking my help and who I work with, because you can use the strategies and the framework with people.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's perfect. And what, any business owner really looking to grow a strong team. I mean, that's usually what we're saying, right?
Yes.
As business owners, we want a strong team. How do we collaborate? How do we work together? What is in our way? I love the name. I just think it's perfect.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's interesting is what is growing a team really mean?
Yeah.
What does grow a strong team mean? What does that mean to people? So you have to find that out. What are they, where are they now, and where do they want to go with it? And many small to medium-sized businesses want a team that is engaged, motivated. They want to be there. They want to go to work. They want to be happy, and they want to be able to have conversations that are meaningful. And they want people to be working together as a unit. Those are culture issues. That's why the culture component to what I do has become so strong, because one of the things that people ask me, or when we talk about culture, oh, my culture's fine. We don't have any problem. Everybody's happy to be here. So then they go and they really start defining the issues that are holding them back. And from having difficult conversations to being stuck in the weeds, to having employees, saying, getting ready to go out the door half hour before the end of the work time. The employees don't run or work in the business with the same values that the owner has, Tiffany. And so those are culture gaps. Those are all tied to the culture, and they derail a culture of moving people forward. So when we look at those pieces, I help people identify all those issues that are getting in the way, that we call culture gaps, because they might have a culture, but they do not have a valued culture. A culture where people are happy to be there. They drive the business forward. And really, culture defines, describes, and drives a business. So that then in turn ties into growing strong teams.
And so many times, would you say, it sounded like this, the leaders don't even know that they have a culture like that. Because like you said, they think everything is fine. Everybody is getting along, everything is moving forward, but they're not getting the results that they're looking for. So that really is an indicator that there's something, I don't know if you use the word broken or not in alignment potentially.
Yep.
And so what kind of transformations have you seen in leaders or workplaces that have prioritized focusing on communication and building stronger workplace cultures?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, people need to realize it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in 2 months. It takes time, because we're shifting behaviors and we're shifting actions. And it takes time. We're humans, so it takes time to build those pathways, neural pathways, to get that done. Results wise, once people are developing and growing themselves individually and transferring those growth tactics and strategies to their people, the transformation is remarkable. And the biggest thing is people feel less stressed. They feel like their team is more accountable to each other and to the business, as well as to them. They get away from micromanaging because of the accountability that's built in and the commitment. They are able to delegate comfortably and not feel like they have to hold on and do all the tasks themselves. And so these people are then able to walk away from working in and doing it all and building up the strength of the people around them to carry those things on. They still oversee, they still check in, they still own the business. Some people, I've had a couple people who want to sell their business, so I help them get their people and infrastructure in place, and then they're able to sell. I've had 2 people sell their businesses from that standpoint, but they had to get their people and their systems in place. So, but the biggest part is being able to step away from doing it all, being on the merry-go-round, and then being able to engage other people to help grow them into that. It's really important.
Yeah, so important. Especially if you're looking to sell your business, it's really important to have those pieces in place. It's just going to help the business be more profitable in that sale.
Yes, yes.
Might sell better.
Yeah. And some don't want to just sell. They want to be able to step away and be an absentee owner, which is what I was.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I fell into that, not being totally planned, but I fell into that kind of model. And I had to say, okay, what do I need to do to develop the people and refine the systems in order for it to run with me just checking in, not micromanaging and doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a story? I think I know. I think you have a story. I can't about a transformation that happened.
Are you thinking about myself? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, we could talk about yourself or I think the Canada story.
Yeah. Yes. I have a Canadian, had a Canadian client who wanted to be able to step away from her practice and sell her ownership portion to the other owners. And it was extremely stressful. She didn't know how to do it, but she knew what she wanted to do after she sold that part of the business. So we ended up, she asked me to help her out. So we did a short sprint coaching session, project oriented, which was, let's define where you are now, where you want to go, and create that. And we did that in 6 sessions. But what it started with is finding her own purpose, finding out her why. And we know the YOS because the why down what, because Simon Sinek first brings that up with the golden circle. And so that's a really important concept. But if you know your why, what drives you, you can have clarity and vision about what you want to do. And so we, because I'm a why certified coach, and I'm able to take people through the process of discovering their why, their how, and their what, then that's what we did. And I do that with a lot of leaders who are stuck or frustrated. What do I want to do? I don't know where I want to go with this. And then their team will do it with their team. But that's what I did with her. And it gave her clarity to say, yes, this is why I do what I do as a person and a leader. And it gave her clarity on what she wanted to do after she was able to step away from her business entirely and sell it. And she's now in the coaching world and being very developing those skill set and growing in that area, which was wonderful because her whole stress level shifted and she got where she wanted to be. So that's one of the stories that was so beneficial.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, right? Like the work-life balance, doing what you love, finding what matters. It's so important for that long-term sustainability of joy in your life.
Well, and the other thing that's so nice about this is that just that particular tool that I use is not just only for individuals. So I use it with teams. So I've got a couple of teams that each individual team member has discovered their why, their how, and their what. And then we craft a messaging and discussion around that so people know what the differences are, but what the similarities are, and how to connect with others, communicate with others. And it brings in less judgment. So people collaborate a lot more. It opens that space for collaboration. So then the team all brings that together themselves. And then then you go on to develop your business why, which is the purpose of the business. People think they have it well defined. Most of them don't. Yeah. So
Well,
when we
and would you say that the why changes or evolves or grows?
that's a great question. The why typically is who we are. It comes from our limbic part of our brain. So there's no language there. That is who we are. How we deliver the why and what people can expect from us does shift based on our growth, our circumstances, but at any given time, it may shift. For instance, if someone has had a lot of stress in their life, they might take the why during that period of time, the why discovery, and it would be different than what they originally took before all that stressor started. But when people say they know what their passion is, they usually describe the what. They usually do not describe the why. And this discovery tool helps you do that, which then helps you navigate things in a more clear and concise fashion.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really powerful because I'm just thinking about myself. And I think about like my why. It's like, well, what is my why and how like it can change and like what matters. And then I'm like, well, is that my why? And just to have a tool that can really clarify that I just can only imagine it makes such a difference for each person that
it
comes
does.
to
And
that.
it gives direction and it gives people, it's why do I exist? Why do I do what I do?
Yeah.
And it helps bring that in when we are in a world of chaos and just confusion and distraction and fast moving. It helps separate those things out so that you can say, okay, this is really why I function well in my zone of genius, if you will. And it's important to know that because then you can make clearer decisions. You can really put value on why you do what you do and why maybe your values blend so well with the business that you're in, or maybe they don't. So it's a really important piece to culture, to collaboration, to growing.
Yeah. Well, and you recently just wrote an article for Powerful Women Today on finding your purpose,
I
right?
did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It sounds like it's really what you're touching on today.
That is a big part of it because it also, I think the story that I shared in that article was, and I'll be, transparent about it. After being a clinician and very successful business owner for 35, 40 years, I did not realize it, but my identity was wrapped into being a physical therapist,
Yeah.
a clinician, a business owner. And so when I sold my business and stepped away, it's like, okay, where's my identity? Because it was tied into that business. Because we were, as business owners, we worked so hard to build and develop that. And so finding, really discovering my why helped me step back and say, the vehicle for me to express my why and what I do well was the PT world.
Mm.
That was my profession. So that was the vehicle I chose. But when you get away from that, so many people who transition out of that type of role or model, they're a little bit lost. Where do I want to go with this? What do I want to do? I see this a lot. And the why helps start that conversation. So and my why is very simple. I like to help, I make sense out of complex and challenging data for people. And how do I do that? I bring clarity by doing that. But what people can expect from me is that I contribute and give back to their success. That is my why operating system. I can do that in the PT world. I can do that in the community. I can do that at home. I can do that wherever, because that's what drives me. But people need to find that out.
Yeah. And I can just feel your energy with that and how powerful that is for you.
Yeah, it really is, because it took away that everything I did was tied to my PT world.
Mhm.
And that was just a vehicle that allowed me to express the things, the characteristics that I do well. I loved it. I did.
Yeah.
So, but when you decide to step away, what does that do to you continuing to carry on and share your values with other people?
Yeah. I love it.
So, yeah,
That's
it's,
awesome.
yeah. And teams really like it too, because it brings collaboration to them and discussion, and takes away some of the backbiting silos that occur in businesses. It really opens up the space for discussion.
Mhm. And are you finding that the workforce is looking more for that collaboration today versus, I think the hierarchy of order in the workplace, and just to be heard and seen and express their ideas?
Absolutely. And people want to be heard.
Mhm.
People also want to be recognized. Recognition is one of the top piece motivators in workplace. So people want to be recognized versus acknowledged. And it's really important. And what we tend to think of, oh, I always have to give you a ribbon or a trophy to win just to be recognized. No, that's not what it is. It's really just recognizing people for what they have done and how they've done it, and acknowledging it. That's a really important piece. And we do know that people work generally in businesses, they work for one person, not for the company. So we want to shift that around and have people say, I like working at this business, instead of just working for one leader. Yes, the leader may attract and drive that person in, but you want them to be able to feel comfortable in that culture, because it's a valued culture. And that includes so many of these components: learning how to identify what drives people and what their key motivators are.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So
It's
those
so
are
important. That makes
fun.
a lot of sense.
And
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun, because it's seeing the light bulb turn on. And honestly, it's easy. If people step back and get out of their technical mind and all this chaos that gets in the way of us really functioning at our high level, because we're regulated, we have to go with compliance, worry about reimbursement, retention, all this stuff. If we can step back and bring these cultural aspects in, a lot of those problems do take care of themselves.
Mhm.
I can't, well, reimbursement, I can't speak to. And compliance, I don't have any control over that.
It just
But
shows up, right?
yeah, those are things I can't control. That's just the way it is in our environment. But
Right.
those other pieces will help how you respond to those.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, I know that you recently released a digital course called the Ultimate Recruitment, Retention, and Team Culture Program. Tell us more about it and what led you to create it.
Oh my goodness. Um, this is all part of the story. And the story is, when you have an infrastructure that supports your systems and your people, the
Mm.
business can run itself. And that includes components. There are 11 modules, but it really includes components of recruitment strategies. And honestly, the most important component in this, well, there are several in this program, are all of the done for you digital handouts that are a part of the program. And it's from how you design, develop, and implement job scorecards, which we now call position success tools, to core values, to how you interview references, how you interview candidates. I mean, and all the way into onboarding, a solid onboarding package, retention, and then key indicators, or 5 key elements that you need to include when you're recruiting people, especially with these generational gaps that we have and generational challenges. Everyone is having a recruitment problem, partly because people are dropping out of the field, but there's so many, just things are changing so rapidly that is a problem. But those components are still important when you're interviewing and having discussions with people. But you have to have expectations, clear expectations set up so that people know where they stand when they come into the business. And that's not just productivity and KPIs. That's our descriptive behaviors for core values and behavioral competencies. We weren't taught any of that in school. How do you interview for that? How do you pick a candidate on their characteristics? It's a challenge. So those are all pieces that are in this program. And I designed it because I kept doing it with people over and over again. It's like, I need to put this out there because these are the missing pieces when people want to retool, refine, transform their business.
Yeah, that's so helpful. And then it's a course that it's self-paced, so you can take it as you are available to take it, and then build out your own systems as you're going through it. So
it's intensive.
It's a comprehensive course, definitely.
It's very comprehensive, and so it covers all the pieces, and certainly not. And I've used it over and over again with people because that's what they need to get their business going and get things aligned.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Wonderful. So Jody, one last question here today. What advice would you give to leaders who want to build a stronger team culture?
The first thing they need to do is determine or find out where the gaps are. Because when we talk about culture, as I said in the very beginning of this discussion we're having, people even deny that they have a culture problem. They just know something's not right. Things just don't feel right. So they first have to open their mind and have a mindset shift of, okay, I need to find out what issues really where the gaps are. I mean, they can do that through the culture checkup survey. The leaders can do that. And then they can find out where the gaps are, and we can discuss, and they can find out how they define their team from that standpoint. But that's really a big part. You have to be open to asking questions and looking in the mirror. And okay, all of this, where I want to take it or go, it starts with me. So what do I need to do? And how do I get there? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yes. I mean, looking at ourselves by far is the number one thing we have to do. As a business owner myself, that is definitely something that I think about. And how am I behaving? How am I showing up? How am I being an example? What am I asking of my team? Am I reciprocating? Am I recognizing and acknowledging? So I feel like all the things that you said today are such good reminders for us as leaders and business owners to really look at, like, where do we need to look? What are we not looking at? And it isn't all about productivity. I mean, of course we want productivity and results and our bottom line to look great. And yet without that team, if we have teams, without that team in place and really recognizing their work, their efforts, and encouraging and supporting healthy behaviors and habits, it won't work. In my experience, it just won't work without those pieces and looking at ourselves as leaders. So
that is so true. And I had a revolving door in my practice at one point. People would come and go. And finally and we had a great business. But why were people only staying a short period of time and then leaving? Mm-hmm. And this was before all this issue, that we were seeing in the last three years or so. It was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I had to step back and say, with the help of one of the other senior therapists in my business, I had to say, what am I missing here? And so I had to step back and look at that piece and really make some effort to explore that and then shift the strategies and tactics that I use. Yeah, sometimes we have business owners, we start and we expect people to do everything the way we do it.
Right.
Duh.
Yep. I was
Doesn't
there
happen.
once.
Oh yeah, doesn't happen that way. So we have to be really clear on expectations, accountabilities, what grows them, develops them, what they can expect, and consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So those are
Great.
important.
Well, if Judy, if there's someone, watching this today, or as we share this with others, if someone is looking to connect with you, have a conversation, explore an opportunity with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Either email or LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
what's your
sometimes
email
the
address?
email, Judy@growstrongteams.com. And sometimes we all know that these things go to spam.
Yeah.
So if I don't respond, within a day or two, I think people need to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And that is one way to do it. They could call, but I think email and LinkedIn are the most efficacious way to do it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good. We'll make sure to add that in our comments as well. So, so lovely to have you here, Judy. You're just awesome. And I love spending time with you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience and insights, and being our first interview in our new series.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been fun. It's
Yeah.
always fun to work with you guys. So I
Yeah.
absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Great. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone. Have a great day.